What is up, Squared Nation? Welcome back to No Counters, No Combos, and today we're in the remote battle chamber. It's a new playlist I'm going to be putting up on the channel. This video was supposed to come out yesterday. However, it was a nightmare trying to edit this since it was my first attempt at doing some type of webcam gaming. This is not perfect. It's not the optimal setup I want. I understand that my screen is very, very tiny, and I'm going to try to walk you guys through everything, you know, as much as I possibly can. We are testing our SS4 Vegeta deck against Tristan, who is playing the baby leader from set 8. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to try to follow through everything and make sure I get all the plays down, especially for my screen since it is so small. But for the most part, this is just a trial and error type thing. And, you know, I still wanted to try to get out gameplays as much as I possibly could, even though we're not really doing, you know, physical events right now. I still wanted to get some type of gameplay on the channel for you. That way you could see the decks that I'm building in action in case you're interested in testing them for yourself. So I'm just going to try to catch up real quick. I started off by charging a blue and playing my Zeno Super Combo for 1 energy, drawing a card and passing. And then Tristan's going to go ahead and do his turn. So what's interesting about this baby leader is you can get away with charging a multicolor turn 1 because you can have plays without utilizing energy. Shout out to my wife for mentioning me in my DMs there on Instagram. Sorry for that little pop-up there. Like I said, I'm just practicing and trying to get this stuff ironed out to make sure that I can have a better setup for you guys visually. So like I was saying, this deck that Tristan is playing can afford to tap out turn 1 with a multicolor energy because it has plays that it can make off of just a leader skill. So by taking 2 life, he looks at the top card. He looks at cards from the top of his deck. He can play, you know, he can free play cards. Like you have the Doctor, I forget his name from GT. Man, what's his name? Giro? I forget his name, but you can play him for free, and then when he's played, he can grab a baby out of the deck, and then when the baby's played, you draw 3 cards, discard 2. So there's a lot of filtering in this deck. There's a lot of free playability, and it's very interesting. It's the first time I've actually seen this deck in action because it was in the format that I wasn't around for. So it was very refreshing playing something different, and we had a pretty fun game. I mean, baby definitely gets you know, pretty out of hand later in the game, as you'll see here. But for the most part, it was a pretty fun game. So Tristan activates his leader ability, takes 2 life, swings at me. I'll go down to 7, no problem here. He's going to go ahead and take a damage here off of my attack, which is going to allow me to ramp. And then I'm going to go ahead and tap an energy here for another Zeno, drawing another card. So I have 2 super combos out on board with 3 energy. Not the most optimal start, but you know, it is better than nothing in my opinion. Like I said, I know it's very hard for you guys to see my screen because it is such a small picture-in-picture, but I'm going to try to do the best that I can to follow along with the plays to make sure you guys are up. I mean, obviously you can easily see Tristan's board, so I'm going to be paying attention to mine a little more closely just because it is a little hard to see the plays come out visually. So he's going to go ahead and charge his 2nd energy, untap. He's going to activate his leader skill to take 2 life, go down to 3. He's going to look at top 3, and he's going to get a brainwashed or a baby card. So he's going to grab the Bola there. I believe she goes to the hand. And then baby is an awaken at 4 or less, draw 2 leader. So there won't be any untap, but you can see how many cards he filters through and how many, you know, how large his hand size gets just by activating his leader's ability. Now, he is going to go ahead and awaken and draw 2 cards. Now, the leader on the backside is very interesting. Once per turn, you can free play a brainwashed card from your hand, but he's only a 10k attacker on the back. Now, the reason he's a 10k attacker on the back is because he has a skill where if your opponent's leader goes into a negative attack power, he gains triple attack. And this deck definitely has ways of doing that with its boss monster, which I'm sure you'll see later on in the game. But like I said, it was my first time against this deck, and it was very interesting seeing that type of a mechanic. You know, awakening leaders usually will have a power boost, you know, but for the most part, staying 10k on both sides is very interesting in my opinion. So he's going to go ahead and attack with his leader into my leader, 10k to 10k. I'm going to go ahead and, well, he's actually going to combo these two here. So he's comboing a red and a yellow. And then I believe he's going to arrival his baby, right? So he's going to tap 1 to arrival his baby in. And this guy's a 15k barrier that has a Union Absorb skill, which is going to allow him later on to... He has to Union Absorb 4 Brainwashed from his drop area, and then he can go up the ladder. So this is just a 15k barrier for right now, but it is his Union Absorb target. So right now he's sitting at 20k to my leader. I'm going to go ahead and take that and go to 6. In SS4 Vegeta, the deck that I'm playing, I don't focus on a lot of aggression on the front side. I'm not playing Ultra Instinct Kamehameha. I'm not playing the Ape Unison that gives you plus 10k. So me getting to my backside is very, very crucial, especially because of the ability when my opponent activates a counter skill, my leader can restand. I really like that ability. I think it's very, very strong. It's very unique for the leader. And I think that if your opponent is not paying attention, it can get out of hand. So we'll see exactly how that plays out. Tristan's going to go ahead and play the Bergamo Unison that we got from Draft Box 6, which in this deck is very, very nice because for the most part, Bergamo comes down with 1 marker and he's very small. I mean, he only gets 3k power for each marker that he has on him. You can add a marker every turn, and then every time he gets attacked, he gains a marker. So he starts off very small, but over the course of the game, he will start to get out of control. If you kind of semi-pay attention to him without any effective way of removing him, he can, you know, pretty much take over the game if he really needs to. Now, Tristan's using it more as a filter card and just, you know, being able to have a Unison on board to activate counterplays and stuff like that, which is very smart in my opinion, because Bergamo has very good, you know, lasting ability. Like, he's going to prolong the game. He's going to be there, you know, for a significant amount of time, especially if you're not paying attention to him because of the way the deck is being played. You can see all of this stuff that's coming out on the board. It's kind of hard for me to pay attention to a Unison when I don't want my opponent's board getting out of control. So I am going to take that Bergamo swing and go to 5. And let's see if Tristan has any other plays. He's going to discard... He has to discard he has to draw 3, discard 2 off of the baby effect. So that's what he's going through his hand right now, discarding the Prideful Transformation. Because I took 2 damage this turn, he can free play this baby card, which is I think is awesome. It's one of the starter deck exclusives from the baby starter back in, I think it was set 8 as well. Once you take 2 damage, you can free play him. He's another 15k body, which is great. So this deck is kind of like an aggro deck, but it also goes wide at the same time. And the toolbox effect that the Bergamo Unison adds to it is just another dimension, so another layer. So obviously I'm going to snap take that and go to 4. And I believe that's going to end Tristan's turn. So we're going to go ahead and charge here. I should be sitting at 4 energy because I did ramp. So this is the turn where you start to I don't want to say go off, but your plays start to matter, right? Now, because we're in blue, obviously we have access to stuff like Dimension Magic. We have access to stuff like Sensi Bean, and then our super combos can obviously help us to replace our energy. But we are going to go ahead and tap 4 for the Vegeta expansion card, which he comes out for 4. If you have 4 mono blue energy, you draw a card, and then you can play your SS4 Protector of the Earth Unison from the deck or your hand with 3 markers on it. Now, he does respond to my Vegeta with his Prideful Transformation, so Vegeta will come out in rest mode, but that's okay. As long as I control a Unison with 2 markers by the end of my turn, my blocker will restand. So he is a 20k blocker, but Prideful Transformation does bring him out in rest mode, so it's 1 less swing Tristan has to worry about. So we're going to go ahead and bring out our Unison with 2 markers on him. And the Unison's auto when he's played, your opponent's next turn, they cannot attack with battle cards unless they bottom deck a 2-cost or higher. So we are going to go ahead and swing with our leader here. Auto draw. We're at 15k. You normally want to swing at your opponent's leader with your SS4 Vegeta leader because you kind of want to try to get that ramp off as efficiently as you possibly can. Knowing that my opponent's leader is only 10k, he does have to commit 2 cards to combo out. He does have a ridiculous amount of cards in his hand, which I know is not impossible for him. But worst case scenario, it's 2 cards that he has to use. So he's going to go ahead and combo the 2 cards off of his board, going to 20k. I don't think he's going to activate the arrival skill, but he is going to activate he's going to combo off those 2 cards, getting more brainwashed / baby cards in the drop area for his inevitable Union Absorb. So we're sitting with our leader, 2 super combos, a Vegeta blocker, and we have our Unison on board. Now, the Unison is really interesting. For -1, you can draw 2 cards and bottom deck 1, so it does help you filter. And then his -3 is you can choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and send them back to their hand. So it's essentially a pseudo board wipe, but you have to -3 markers on him. So the Vegeta from the expansion set does help bring him out if you need to either reset the board or if you need to go ahead and draw more cards. So that's a good way of cheating him out from the deck because he is a restricted 5-cost blue Unison. But if you can get to good amounts of energy, playing him for 5 is not that bad because you can -3 and then still have your abilities open, you know, for further plays if you need to. So I go ahead and swing with my Unison. Tristan combos the Wii Super combo, negging one of my Zenos by 10k, so I lose one of those Zenos. And I'm going to go ahead and pass turn. I am tapped out, but my Vegeta blocker did restand, so he's a 20k blocker. And I do have my Unison on board, so his auto kicks in. Tristan can only attack with battle cards if he decides to bottom deck 1 that costs 2 or more. And as you can see, all of his battle cards on the board currently cost 2 or more. Now, the Unison does not restrict opponent's leaders or opponent's Unisons from attacking. So minimum, he's going to have 2 swings here unless he decides to bottom deck some stuff. So he's going to go ahead and charge. He's going to uptick his Pergamo, which I believe has 3 markers on himself right now, which would be 9k with the base 4, so I think or the base 3, so he's at 12 or 14k or something like that. So like I said, you know, in the beginning, Bergamo seems, you know, harmless, but like I said, also, over time, as he starts to accrue more markers, is when he's going to start getting out of control. And just having a Unison on board that could stick so that you can play your counterplays for free is very good in my opinion. So Tristan's going to go ahead and free play his 2 1-drops here. Draw 3, discard 2. As you can see, his hand size is out of control right now. For yellow, that's crazy because yellow is not normally known for having such large hands. I think the first really powerful yellow deck that had big, you know, hand advantage was U7 Frieza back in the days of Tournament of Power, and we hadn't really seen much of it. The Gohan Icarus deck does generate a lot of hand advantage also, but seeing this in a baby deck is insane. So it's like mindless aggression with the ability to go wide as well, which is really interesting. So he's going to go ahead and swing with his leader. I believe he's swinging into my Unison, which is probably what you want to do because you want to get those markers off of him. I am going to go ahead and block with my 20k Vegeta. And then I'm going to pass back to Tristan for combos to see if he decides to do anything. Now, in an ideal situation, I would want to use my Zeno Super combo here. But I think he Whises. I think he Whises on this swing, or he Whises on the Bergamo swing to get rid of my Zeno Super combo. Or I'm just bad and misplayed and didn't use my Zeno Super combo. So we'll see what happens here. But right now it's leader into 20k blocker. And we're just going to let that fizzle. So he's going to turn sideways with Bergamo. Probably go after my Unison as well. So Bergamo's probably sitting at 14, I think. And then I think this is where the Whis Super combo comes in. Now, granted, I definitely misplayed. Virtually not using the Zeno Super combo hurts because now I'm tapped out and I'm not getting utilization out of that super combo, especially because you can't combo into a Unison defensively. So I kind of missed an opportunity there to pick up an energy and replace it. But seeing this Gohan super combo come out from set 10 on the Bergamo swing, he gets to pop one of my battle cards in rest mode that's 5 or less if it's his turn. So he's going to go ahead and pop my Vegeta, and then he's going to force my Unison to go down from 2 markers to 1. So essentially he killed 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. But any further attacks he wants to make here is going to have to be at the cost of a 2-drop, you know, going to the bottom of the deck. So I don't think Tristan's in a position where he needs to push. Yes, technically speaking, he does have a lower life total than me, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's behind. He does have a board. He has a large, you know, hand size. So there's really nothing to worry about here. He is going to go ahead and free play the Bulma with the leader skill, and he's going to look at the top 3 and add a Brainwashed to his hand. So he's going to grab that 2-drop Vanilla Gohan to 20k, which I think is insane. Being able to free play a 20k like that off of your leader skill is pretty huge. And also in combination with the Bergamo Unison, which is one of the cards that makes this deck a lot better, being able to, you know, take markers off to bring, you know, vanillas out of the deck for more swings. It's just really interesting. I'm glad that, you know, we're seeing stuff that's not, you know, regular, you know, meta cards that we normally see, or meta decks that we normally see. So, oh man, he's going to go ahead and tap 1 for the Sin Shenron secret rare, the 35k blocker. Playing him for 1 is just so ridiculous because of how much value he gives you. And he is a problem card. I mean, he can't be removed from the battle area by your opponent's skills, whether it's KO or Warp, or you just can't get rid of him unless you attack into him and you force him to use all of his blocks and stuff like that. So that's just another thing that I have to go over. And you could see this board, like this board is starting to get out of control. It might not seem like a lot is going on, but when you're sitting across the table from it with not much, you know, in your favor, there's definitely a lot going on here. So he's going to play this in, pass turn. I'm going to draw, untap. I have my Unison on board with a Zeno super combo and obviously my leader. So we're going to see here how this goes. We're going to go ahead and charge. We're going to go ahead and I believe, what is it that's going? I can't really tell. I should have my Unison on board still with 1 marker. We're going to go ahead and swing with my leader, auto draw. He's going to block with Sin. My deck is off to the side there. That's why it's a little hard to see. Aside from the small screen size, my deck is not in the best position to be seen here either. So like I said, this is not the optimal setup. I am going to figure out a way to increase the size of my screen, maybe do a split screen type thing, just for better viewing purposes. So we are going to go ahead and tap 3 for Preface of Recovery, and then Preface of Recovery comes in and untaps 2 energy. So essentially he's a 1-drop 15k. I love this card. This is one of the best cards that's ever been printed. You know, he did have a lot of applications back in the Shugesh days, being able to tap out freely and then Shugesh in a Preface to untap 2. It's just a really good card in my opinion. He does have barrier, so it's something your opponent has to worry about. You do have to watch out for counterplays, because barrier cards obviously get hit by counterplays, but in a yellow deck, my effect is still going to go through because the counterplay for yellow is Prideful Transformation, and it doesn't negate the auto. So we're going to go ahead and swing 15 into, I believe, his leader. He's going to go ahead and take that life, go down to 2, and I still have energy open here to make some plays. So we're going to go ahead and tap 1 for another Zeno super combo, draw a card. So I have 2 Zeno super combos on the board now. I should have 1 energy open still. I should have my Unison in play unless I decided to. I think I swung with my Unison and then negged it 1 to draw 2 and bottom deck 1. So we're going to tap out 2 here for 2 energy. We're going to go ahead and play the Gogeta Unison from the starter Vegito deck. Now, I really like this Unison for the simple fact that if I control a Blue Saiyan in rest mode, my leader cannot take damage from attacks. So I really like him as a Unison. I think he has very interesting applications. We are going to go ahead and swing, and Tristan's going to block with his Shenron. So he's already used his block twice, which is putting him at a 25k. And then so I just have to combo 10k into this swing to match it to force him to combo out or let the guy die, which at that point, you just combo him out. Like, there's just, he has all these cards in his hand. He has cards on field that he can use for combos. So you just combo out and save him, because a 35k blocker that can continue to block is very valuable. So he's going to go ahead and combo 2 5ks here, going up to 35. And then he's going to arrival in another baby, 15k barrier with Union Absorb. So as you can see, it's kind of getting a little bit out of control. I don't have any efficient ways of getting rid of this board because I'm very limited in what I could do right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pass turn. I have 1 energy open with my Unison at 2 markers, 2 Zeno super combos, and a Preface of Recovery in rest mode. And let's see, let's see what happens here. Tristan's going to charge his 4th energy, which is probably a lot for this deck. If I were to, was it 4 or 5 energy? 1, 2, 3. It looks like he's at 4. He might be at 5, but it looks like he's at 4. So let's see what he decides to do here. I'm sitting at 5 life, it looks like. No, 4 life. I'm sitting at 4 life. That's my hand on the bottom there. He's going to go ahead and tap 1 for the baby. He's going to draw 3, discard 2. This is just crazy. Like, there's just nothing I could do. Granted, unfortunately, I know the deck profile stated that I was playing 3 God Sealing Technique Trunks. Unfortunately, I didn't have them on me at the time of recording. I thought that I did, but I was lending them to a friend. So I had to just kind of throw in 3 random cards, and I didn't have God Sealings for this match, which is probably a huge mistake on my part, because God Sealing basically lets you survive. But it is what it is. We were just playing some fun games over the webcam thing to try to take a look and see how it would work out and see if we'd be able to get some footage for the channel. So I definitely do appreciate Tristan for, for the games or whatnot. We had played a game earlier, but it didn't record properly. So later on in the evening, we got together again and we played this matchup, which was a lot of fun in my opinion. It was definitely fun. Seeing something different, seeing something that I've never seen before, just learning the ways and how this deck operates. And I think it's really solid. It's definitely different from what we're used to as far as meta. I think the Bergamo Unison helps out a lot, but that whole effect of, reducing attack power and being able to, capitalize on that, like getting a bonus for doing it, is really good in my opinion. So he's going to feed the Bergamo. He should be sitting at 5 markers right now, which, that's when Bergamo is going to start to get out of control, when he's got 4+ markers on him. So he is going to go ahead and swing at my Unison, I believe, because there's really no point swinging at my leader right now because I have a, that permanent where I won't take damage. So you definitely want to try to remove the Unison or remove the battle card at minimum, But I think going after the Unison is safer because you can't combo defensively. So if I don't have a negate, it's essentially going to lose a marker regardless. So he's going to activate his activate battle, take a life, discard 3, and basically what happens is he chooses all of my battle cards and my leader, and they get negative 20k. So I will lose my 2 Zeno super combos, and my Vegeta leader will go down to a -5. Now remember what we talked about earlier. When your leader dips into a negative attack power, the baby leader does get the ability for triple attack. So there's going to be a lot of shenanigans going on right here because my leader is sitting at -5. So all those little weenies that he has out there that is like 1k and 4k, they'll actually be able to swing at my leader for damage. And if my hand is not big enough for combo or is not filled with negates, I'm in for a rough time. So let's see how this plays out. So he activates battle on the baby, reducing all of my stuff, getting rid of all my stuff. And let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to activate battle and play the Gotenks. Because I control a Unison with 2 markers on it, I'm going to free play the Gotenks. At this point, it's just one of those things where if for some reason he can't get rid of my Unison, I'll still have another battle card on the field that he has to worry about if he wants to do damage. But, it's not looking pretty good for me at this point. So he's going to swing with Sin. I believe he's going at my Unison here. I should be sitting at probably 1 marker on the Unison, unless I had a time magic or something like that. because I'm still at 1 open energy. So it looks like I'm going to time magic here, untap an energy. So I'm sitting at 2. So I'm going to not time magic, dimension magic, the Sin Shenron swing. He's going to go ahead and turn sideways. This is the baby. 15 to 15 unison. Let's see if I counter this attack. I'm going to slap down another dimension magic, untapping an energy. So he's got, you know, a couple more swings that he could do, but you definitely want to clear off the unison, right? My unison should be sitting at maybe 1 or 2 markers at this point, maybe 1. He's going to go ahead and swing with another 15k battle card, putting me down to 1. And essentially he's got his leader that can swing 3 times. He's got Prideful Transformation as only a 14k, but you could just easily throw a 5k at it. And then he's got his big 30k baby. I'm sitting at 4 life, though, so I'm not out of it just yet. And I do have 4 open energy, so you never know what type of defensive, you know, cards Blue's going to have, right? So let's see how this works out here. So it looks like he's going to attempt to swing with his 30k baby. Maybe not. You got to go after my unison because you got to get rid of him in order for me to actually take battle damage. So let's see how this plays out. If it was, I believe it's going to be a Prideful Transformation swing. That's just what I'm seeing on the table right now. So Prideful Transformation is going to swing at my unison, 14k to 15k. I don't think I have any more dimension magics, but I might have another different counter that I could use. So let's see here. 14k to 15k, counter phase. Let's see. Do I have it? Doesn't look like it. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and tap 2 for Mafuba. And Tristan's just going to turn his Vegeta upside down so that we know, you know, exactly what's going on with that. So I'm sitting at 4 life. He's got 3 swings from lead and 1 30k swing from his baby. So it's going to be a rough time, but if I sequence properly, you know, if I combo out the swings that I have to combo out, I should be okay. So let's see here. Let's see what he decides to do. He's going to go ahead and free play a 20k vanilla off of his leader skill, which that's actually pretty rough. So 20k to my -5. So I don't think I have any more negates. So, he was going into my unison. So my unison is now gone. So everything is free game now. I have no ways of protecting myself from battle damage. My unison is no longer on the board. It's just going to come down to combo power, negates, and what I have in my hand. So let's see exactly how this plays out. I'm sitting at 4 life to Tristan's 1. This is a really close game, but he has the advantage because of his board presence and the fact that his leader can swing 3 times. So Baby's going to attack my leader 10k to -5. So that means I would have to combo 20k worth of power just to survive. Because if I combo 15, I'm only going to match because I'm -5. So I'd have to combo a minimum, or I'd have to combo a minimum of two cards if they're super combos, which we've already seen my Xenos get blown up. So I'm gonna lose 4 cards on this combo here, unless I decide to take it, hopefully draw a negate off of life. There's a lot of different situations that you can go into. Knowing your deck and knowing what cards you've played and what cards you haven't seen yet is very crucial, because it can help you determine when to take good damage and when not to take bad damage. But I am going to go ahead and I think I'm going to take this and go down to 3. He's going to restand his leader because he has 2 more attacks with him. So I'm always in fear of the Champa though, right? Like, he's got a 30k body on board. If he gets me down to 2 and he swings 30k and throws a Champa at it, there's like nothing I could do, right? So I'm always scared about my opponent just slapping Champa on the table and saying GG, you know, and extending the hand because that's just such a potent play. Pretty much every deck plays at least 1 copy of Champa, so going down to 2 is never comfortable in any situation. So he's going to swing at me with his Bulma, which I combo out of, because she's only a 1k. So I have to use 10k combo power, which kind of sucks, but I have to survive, right? This is about survival. So now he's turning sideways with his baby, which is a 4K. Again, I'd have to combo 2 cards out, which I do, 10K. But he still has 2 more swings off of his lead and 1 more swing off that 30K body. He already activated his leader skill, free playing a brainwash, so I know we can't do that anymore. But depending on how many markers Bergamo has, he might be able to reduce markers to bring another one out of the deck. So let's see here. He's going to swing 10K to -5. I'm not going to counter. I just take it and go to 2, it looks like. He's going to neg, I think it's 3 markers off of Bergamo. If you get 3 markers off of Bergamo, you can go into the deck and play a skill-less card that's like 2 or less. So he's going to go ahead and grab his Brainwashed Gohan, which is a 20K attacker, which is something that I'm going to have a really tough time with because I'm at -5. So 20K to -5. I don't think I have a negate. Just trying to see what I decide to do here. I'm just going to snap take it and go down to 1. So, you know, hopefully I've drawn a negate. Hopefully, you know, this one last, you know, stroke of effort will get me to the promised land, so to speak, but it's definitely not a good time so far. I mean, as far as winning is concerned, I'm having a good time playing, just not in a good position to try to win. So we are going to go ahead, and it looks like play Dimension Magic, which is crazy because I was able to rip out another negate. 30K into my leader. Do I have another negate? Nope, I have no negates. He decides to go into shotgun phase, and that's the ball game, ladies and gentlemen. But as you can see, you know, there's definitely some hidden gems in the game right now. You can experiment with a lot of different strategies and a lot of different decks. Utilize, you know, your locals, have fun with your friends, play some stuff, play some jank, experiment with some different strategies that you might not have, you know, thought about playing in the past, because Draft Box 6 definitely with the unisons have improved a lot of older strategies. So again, I do apologize for the size of my screen, but hopefully we can work everything out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Be there or be squared.